It may look like the world is more peaceful than ever, but that illusion could be the most dangerous lie of our time. Behind the scenes of official headlines and peace treaties, a hidden war is unfolding. A war without declarations, a war without traditional battlefields. Yet it's transforming global power and leaving a devastating human cost. This is how countries are now fighting each other, without ever declaring war. And you need to understand this shift, because it's already changing the world you live in. Let's start with a chart. At first glance, it tells a comforting story. The number of wars between countries, so-called interstate conflicts, has remained mostly flat since World War II. One or two conflicts here and there, sometimes none at all. You'd think the world was mostly at peace. But take a step outside. Listen. Watch. Does it feel like peace? Bombs drop. Refugees flee. Cities burn. The graph doesn't match reality, because it's missing the new face of war. Stack another layer onto the graph. Civil wars or intrastate conflicts. You'll see a surge during the 90s, then a drop. Still not the full picture. Now add one final critical layer. It will change the way you see the world. These are internationalized civil wars, where outside powers fund and fuel local conflicts. They're more commonly known as proxy wars, and they've skyrocketed in the last 15 years. In 2020, there were over 25 active proxy wars across the globe. They often get mislabeled as civil wars: Syria, Sudan, Rwanda. But what the data misses, and what many headlines ignore, is that these aren't just domestic disputes. They're battlegrounds for powerful nations playing geopolitical chess with human lives. And what makes these wars so deadly isn't just the firepower, it's the denial, the strategy, the fact that those pulling the strings aren't the ones on the front lines. To understand how we got here, let's go to an imaginary world. Meet two powerful nations, Johnnyland and Izistan. In the old world, if they had a dispute, they'd go head-to-head. Armies clashing, tanks rolling, just like World War I or World War II. But after the horror of the atomic bomb, everything changed. Nuclear weapons didn't just destroy cities, they destroyed the logic of direct warfare. No sane country could risk total annihilation. So the great powers did something cunning and cold. They stopped fighting each other and started fighting through others. Welcome to the age of proxy warfare. Instead of sending troops, countries now send money, weapons and intelligence to rebel groups or governments in other countries. They turn internal conflicts into geopolitical showdowns. They escalate civil unrest into endless wars, because they know they won't be the ones bleeding. This isn't just theory, it's modern history, and it's happening right now. Let's break down the anatomy of a proxy war. It usually starts small, a local uprising, a political crisis, or a power vacuum. Then enter the patrons. One big power funds one side, the rival backs the other. Suddenly the local conflict becomes a stage for global power plays. Why would they do this? Simple. It's efficient. It's deniable. And it doesn't cost them their own soldiers. Instead, they export the destruction and import the influence. As a result, proxy wars last longer. They kill more people, and they're almost impossible to end. Why? Because the local players aren't really in charge. Peace isn't profitable for the patrons. The longer the war rages, the more leverage they gain. And when you zoom out, the scale is horrifying. From the Cold War to the Syrian civil war, the fingerprints of powerful nations are everywhere, shaping outcomes, prolonging suffering, rewriting borders. But here's the part that should truly shake you. These proxy wars don't stay contained. They breed extremism. They destabilize entire regions. And they have a nasty habit of spiraling out of control. One wrong move, one unintended escalation, and the patrons might be dragged into the war they were trying to avoid. In the nuclear age, that's a gamble with global consequences. So as we look at the modern world and wonder why peace feels so fragile, remember this: the nature of war has changed. It's quieter, smarter, and far more insidious. It's not a question of whether war is happening. It's a question of who's really fighting and who's paying the price. And that's why you need to understand proxy wars, because they're not just reshaping distant countries. They're shaping the future of global power and the fragile